Hey everybody. So now we are going to be doing a short-term rental property management contract or a co-host contract example to figure out what the max rent would be. Now, once again, the reason we're trying to figure out this number is because it's going to allow us to identify the landlords who are uh, renting out homes, right, on a full-time basis, where we can approach them and tell them you can make more money if it were to be an Airbnb than if it were to be a annual rental, and I will do all of the work. Okay. So this is how we lay it out very simply to figure out what that max rent number is going to be before we start targeting these homeowners, these landlords, right? So it looks very, very similar to the rental arbitrage one that we just went through. However, there's a couple of differences. So let me walk you through it. And I already added the numbers in, so it'll be a quicker video and you don't have to watch me go through each line again, right? So we have the annual revenue. And mind you, when the money comes in through Airbnb, it comes through in as a nightly rate and a cleaning fee. So when you're booking a place on Airbnb as a guest, you're going to be paying a nightly rate. You're going to pay a cleaning fee, usually a service fee, sometimes a hotel tax fee. It depends on where you're going, but the main thing is that the nightly rate and the cleaning fee are both going to be going to the host. Okay, so that's all we account for. That's all we're going to be receiving. The rest is going to Airbnb and the city and stuff like that, right? So typically over an entire year, about 78% of the revenue that comes in is the nightly rate. The cleaning fee actually makes up the other 22%. That's what it was for me. And it was very consistent with that. Now, this is not saying that the cleaning fee is an expense. This is saying the profit that we receive that's the cleaning fee revenue that we're making. Okay. This is something that people get confused quite a bit. It's just the way that you make money as a host is a nightly rate and a cleaning fee. You also have a cleaning expense, right, which is to pay the cleaners. But don't confuse that with the cleaning revenue that you're making when the guest actually pays. Okay. So, anyways, not to make this too confusing, the idea here is that we're in total making about $80,000 of profit. The reason I have to explain the difference there is because typically, when you have a short term rental management contract with a landlord, you are only taking a percentage of the nightly rate, not the cleaning fee. Okay. So, in this example here, I'm taking 20% of the entire nightly rate, not the total 80,000. Okay. So, I'm receiving 20% of that. Now, I'm going to quickly make this a little bit more confusing, but just uh, block this, like make this a new thought in your mind, okay? I hope that confusion just made it easier. Um, when you have a property management contract, you also want to get the cleaning contract for that home, okay? So you want to manage the home, but you also want to clean the home. So you have to have a cleaning company at the same time. For this example, I'm not going to make this confusing. I'm just trying to focus on if you were just be managing the home and not cleaning it. Okay, but that'll be a separate conversation for another day. So coming back, okay, we're now coming back into this. So I am just taking 20% of the nightly rate, and that's going to make me about $12,000 a year. Now, this line right here is the additional profit for the landlord. So I want the landlord to be making $5,000 more than the rent that they are currently asking for, okay? At a minimum, $5,000 more. The reason we want this is because if the landlord can see that they're going to be making $5,000 more, they're going to want to actually do this because typically landlords increase their rent by like 3% every single year, which is nothing. So if we can make them $5,000 more on that same property, they've now increased it by like 20% within 1 year. And it stays at that 20% as long as you keep managing it over and over again. So they actually get this crazy increase on their property, which is a really good thing. Okay. And that's going to make them willing to pull out their wallet and actually pay for all of the furniture to get this up and running. So we want to see this. We want to add this line in here as $5,000 of profit that they're going to make. Okay. Kind of keep this in mind as in the rental arbitrage contract, we were stating that we wanted to make $20,000 of profit. Well, now we are going to be making $12,480 of profit, and we're going to give $5,000 to the landlord in additional profit. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So let's keep moving forward. We also have all of our expenses. These are the exact same expenses that we had in the last example. The only difference is I added in water at $20 a month because water is really not that much. So everything stays the exact same, right? And for the most part. And what ends up happening is we get our total expenses of 17,000. Okay. Now this line here is the total expenses of 17,000. It's also the total of the amount that we're going to be making, and it's also the amount that we want the landlord to be making. Okay, that comes out to about $34,000. Now, what we do is take that 80,000, we minus the 80,000 from all those expenses of 34,000, and what's remaining is $45,000. Okay, and so the landlord, and so the max rent number now becomes $3,780, which is 45,000 divided by 12 gives us $3,780, which means if we can find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in that Austin area, okay, in that neighborhood, where the rent is $3,780 or less, we can make about $12,000 and the landlord can make about $5,000 more. And this is the type of contract where the landlord will pay for everything. So for $0, you could be making an additional $12,000 a year by getting this contract and managing and doing this work for this landlord. If you get 10 of those, you're making $120,000 a year, right? And it costs you $0 up front to get that. So that's pretty great, you know. And if you can find a landlord who's got a bunch of these homes and you can close like a few contracts all at the same time. I'm not going to get too much into it. The idea here is we now have a number which we can then go and use to go and identify potential landlords that we can now sell to and prove it to them using this information here. Okay, so that's it for this property management information sheet. Like I said, you're going to be able to download this. Now, what I want to do next is I just want to compare these two side by side so you can get a general feel for the difference between the two. Okay, so we're going to do that in the next video really quickly.